Welcome back to the Marvelous Middle-Age Podcast. Did you know that by the end of January, nearly 43% of people who set New Year's resolutions have already stopped making progress? If you would like to learn some practical steps you can take towards better health in the new year, you are in for a treat. Today, I'm speaking with Stephanie Neighbor Kubik. Stephanie is a pre-tired banker, former baker, and current yogi who loves to geek out on everything health and wellness. Her passion is to help all women feel their best, spiritually, physically, and emotionally. Stephanie says we have one life to live, so we should be living it to our fullest potential. Stephanie is the owner of Vella Yoga in Marion and has her own health coaching business. She has several degrees in yoga, Ayurveda, a health coaching certification, and years of self-study. I hope you enjoy this episode with Stephanie Neighbor Kubik. Stephanie Neighbor Kubik, welcome to the Marvelous Middle-Age Podcast.
Thank you. It's so good to be here.
Well, I am so glad to have you. We were talking a little bit before about, health and wellness in middle age. And I think this episode is going to be so incredibly helpful for so many. We talked about you maybe even being a regular guest as well.
And I would love that.
I would love that as well. I think this is a very important topic to talk about, and I think it's very timely as well. But before we get into all of that, could you just briefly introduce yourself, who you are, a little bit about your family, what you do?
Yes, absolutely. So I am a mother and a wife, a business owner, and I like to kind of describe myself as a lifelong learner.
Yeah.
I'm here. I live in Cedar Rapids. I was raised around the area, so I've stayed here. But yeah, my life has been a journey, and it went from being a banker to a baker to now a yoga studio owner and a health coach. I have always loved to learn, and I knew that, life would take me where it wanted to go, even though the road was not always straight, but
Never is.
I got there.
Love that. I absolutely love that. I love when people have diverse experiences, because I think even though, the fields of baking, yoga, coaching are very different from each other, I think there's just things that kind of go throughout that you can apply to all those things. And I love that. I love that you've had such a diverse background.
Yeah. And I think at the root of it, it's always about helping others. Like that is what has always been my drive and my passion. When I was in banking, I got to help people, buy houses and, reach that dream. And baking, I did gluten-free. So people who just did not have access,
right?
I was able to help them. And then of course, through yoga and health coaching, it's just a different way of helping others. And I just love it. It just is what fills me up.
That is awesome. I absolutely love that. Yeah. I was thinking back to how we met, and the first thing that came to mind was the gluten-free cupcakes. I don't think I actually met you, but my sister used to own a dessert company, and I remember you baked gluten-free cupcakes for her business when we would get those requests. At that time, there wasn't as much, like you said, not a lot of access to as many gluten-free products as there are today. And so that was a really incredible offering to be able to give to people that, can't have gluten and still wanted to enjoy a delicious treat. And I know we ate them, and they were fantastic cupcakes. Because, I think way back when, if you had to make anything gluten-free, didn't taste good, or it was dry, or wasn't great, but your cupcakes were amazing. You would have never been able to tell they were gluten-free. You know what I mean? They were delicious, and we had lots of requests for them. And so I know that was something she really appreciated, being able to offer her customers.
And I loved it because, again, even though I'm not celiac, I had a lot of people that I knew were, and I love to bake. And it was like a challenge to me because, again, just what you said, everything that was out there kind of tasted like
some
gross.
Cardboard or
yes. And being a sweet aficionado myself, I knew it needed to taste good. So I just loved that, and that was fun. And it was a way for me to be have a little creativity in my world.
You bet. I love that. Well, I think we met through the wedding industry, again, through my sister. She's how I meet everybody. I don't know. There's like a theme. I think almost all the guests I've had
6
on
degrees
here
of
have known
separation from
my
Megan.
sister has known everybody, but we met through the wedding industry, and which is not for the industry, not for the faint of heart. And it's, I know you had a lot of success there as well, and very busy. And your yoga studio, I've had great opportunity to attend some of your classes, which if you have not been to Vella Yoga in Marion, push pause, go online, find a class, go. It's amazing.
Thank you.
I need to come back. I love yoga. I love what it does for me physically in terms of strength and flexibility and all those pieces, but I really love what it does for my mental, the relaxation part of it, the just being able to focus on that one pose in that moment, my breathing, and of course Shavasana at the end
Is the best.
which is where my favorite. I mean, could you just have a class called Shavasana and we just lay there?
Yes,
and
it's pretty much called restorative yoga. So yes.
That's what I want. That's what I need. My absolute favorite. Your daughter has come out here and did a group yoga session for us. I mean, it is just the best. And I know, some people yoga isn't for them, but for me, oh my gosh, I love it.
And the same, I think so many people, they think it's just the physical, and that's how I started. So whatever avenue it takes people to get there, I don't really care.
Right.
It's just because in the end, yes, of course it's going to help us physically, but it's the mental with this, 24/7 world that we live in right now. It is just 60 minutes where you can just focus on your body, your breath, and that's it.
Right.
And it's just amazing.
Yeah.
So
the
I
rest of the
agree.
world is just kind of shut out
Yeah.
in that moment. And it, what's funny though, is like, I will be trying to do it, and to shut your brain off sometimes is hard. Those thoughts, you'll think, oh, what do I have in the fridge for dinner tonight? Or, and it's like, nope. I need to come back.
Yep.
I need to focus. It really is a challenge mentally to do that. Like you said, in this world of constant influx of noise and information, to say, I'm going to take this time for me and shut everything else out and just focus.
Yeah.
And, it takes
Necessary.
a little bit to do that, but I love it. So,
Thank you.
well, it's great. It's absolutely great. Well, I wanted to have you come on today because you just have such a breadth and depth of experience in the health and well-being space, obviously through your yoga studio, through your coaching that you're doing. And, I think middle age, midlife, it's full of transitions. And I think especially in our health and well-being, I think we were kind of talking about this too, about how when you hit middle age, there's some things happening to us physically that we kind of wonder what in the actual world is going on here, and different symptoms and signs. And, I don't think a lot of us are always prepared. We were talking specifically about, perimenopause and menopause and just not knowing a lot about it. And so when things start happening to us, we're just sometimes we're blindsided. We don't, know what this is. What is this symptom I'm having, or this feeling I'm having, or something in my body feels different. And so we also can start to notice potential health issues too in middle age. Joints hurt a little bit longer and more than maybe they did in our 20s, or it's a little harder to lose weight if that's what we're trying to do. Our bodies kind of start to transform and change. And the other thing I think that's overwhelmed me over the years is there's just so much information out there. And it's conflicting too. From one practitioner, you'll hear, oh, eat this many grams of this, or no, do this and eat like this and do that. So I think it can also just be overwhelming.
Yes.
The amount of information that's out there. So when the work that you're doing, and you said your focus is kind of on middle-aged women or women in midlife, what are some of the most common kinds of things your clients are coming to you with that they're challenged with, that you're seeing when you're in middle age in terms of their health? Is it nutrition? Is it exercise, sleep, all of the above, stress? Probably all the above, right?
It is.
Yes, and yes.
It is. It's all of the above. I mean, especially in my yoga studio, I have ages from, I would say, our main ages are 35 and up, but I have a bulk of my women who are for sure 45 and up.
Sure.
So it's, the losing of muscle is a big one. Of course, a lot of ladies can't lose the weight, but it's not just about the weight. It's what you said. It's the joints. It's the mobility. It's the, being able to move comfortably. And maybe that is because they have some extra weight on, or maybe that's just because they don't have the mobility that they need or the strength that they need.
Right.
So, and for sure, I mean, sleep always, is in the mix.
Yep.
And to your point, that's what I feel like is unfortunate, because there are so many misleading, I say experts in quotes out there, and you can find anything that you want on the internet. If you want to eat high carb, you can find high carb. If you want to eat high protein, you can find high protein. If you want keto, if you want paleo, if you fill in the blank, it doesn't matter. And that is the thing that brings me joy, is being able to help these women, because there is no one size fits all. It's literally about you. So what works for you might not work for your friend, your sister, your aunt, your mother, whatever. And so it's really, my coaching program is about it is an umbrella, I'll say, that we focus on certain things, but that might look different for you. It's not just you're going to eat 150 grams of protein a day, boom, everybody across the board.
Right.
It all depends on who, your body.
Right.
But as far as back to your original question, I see it all. I mean, but I would say the biggest ones are the strength, the mobility, again, the ability to say, what is happening? Why aren't things moving?
Right.
Why I could do this 10 years ago and I could lose 5 pounds in 2 weeks. And now it's like nothing is moving. So what's happening? And then there's a lot happening, and that's what we focus on.
Right. Well, you had a really good point. We were talking before that a lot of the people that you see will be doing things that they were trying in their 20s, whether it's to be more active or lose weight or build strength or whatever, or the eating plans and things they were doing, 20, 30 years ago that just don't work when you hit a certain age, or they don't work as well, or they're not as sustainable when you hit midlife. And, it's hard because a lot of us were conditioned to do certain things. That's what we were brought up with. That's what we heard. So we think, it's just going to work when I'm in my 40s and 50s and 60s. And it may not really work as well, or there's a different way to look at things and do things. So I love that. And I love that you have things very tailored to individuals, that it's not that cookie cutter. Because you're right. Everybody is so different and has different, they come in with maybe different, comorbidities, different disease states. They might have health, a condition or an autoimmune or something going on, that things have to be kind of tailored and things like that.
Yes. And I would say that is one of the biggest things, is that people come in to their 40s, 50s, 60s, and they're literally just doing hours of cardio because they could do that back in their 20s.
Right.
And that's it. And then the cardio's not working. So then they lower their calories to this point where your body thinks that it's starving. So it's these two counter things working against each other, but that's what we knew. And that worked when we were 25.
Right.
So it's quite the opposite. So when I tell women, no, you actually need to work out less and eat more, the look in their face is like, you've got to be kidding me.
Panic.
There's no way.
Yeah.
And,
way. Yeah.
They're like, no, that's never going to work until they try it. And then it's like, okay. Yeah.
I'm getting results.
Yeah.
I'm seeing things changing for the better. And I can do this. That's the other thing too, I think is, we all have those moments where we find that eating plan or that exercise plan, and you just go all in 100%. You're, like you said, you're killing it on the treadmill or the cardio or the low fat or low carb or whatever it is. And you just burn yourself out so fast. It's like, I can't do this anymore. This isn't sustainable for me. And what I like about what you're saying is it's figuring out the things that you can do for the long term, things you're going to actually do and stick to. And like you said, working out less is, counterintuitive, but there's a reason for that, and it makes sense. And like you said, not, killing yourself with the cardio and the low calories, but finding that sustainable movement of your body, the strength training, the other things that you can do that you can actually do and that you will do, that's sustainable to do for a long time.
And that's just it too. It's thinking about like my mindset has changed so much, of course, now that I'm in my 50s. It's, we're so much smarter too.
Wisdom is on our side now. Yes, I love it.
That it is all about, I say, working smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
And there's so much more research out there. Finally, it's coming for women, because all of the other was so, it was all men oriented.
Yep.
So the research that has come of the importance of strength training, the importance of eating protein when we are above 40, because, as women, we lose muscle every year, which is awful for longevity, because not only is our bone strength getting less, if what happens, and this has been studied a ton, is because the muscle goes down, the bone density goes down. If we fall and break a hip or something when we're in our 60s, the chance that you're going to end up in a nursing home is like sky high.
Oh,
yeah.
geez.
So it's just so important to keep the building of the strength and the muscle. And I think all the research that is out there right now just only supports that.
Absolutely. So if you could today, if someone's listening, they're like, okay, I know I need to make some changes. I haven't, maybe been eating the greatest or doing the exercise, or my sleep is terrible or whatever. What would be maybe 3 to 5 things, or maybe even just 3? I don't want to overwhelm anybody, but that those of us in midlife could do to start doing. For some of us, we need to start somewhere to best take care of our health. What would those maybe like top 3 things that we could start doing today?
Yeah.
If we wanted to get a jump start.
So easy. First of all, first and foremost, I think before anything is sleep. We have got to get our sleep figured out, because as you and I were talking about before, when we were in that perimenopause stage, going through menopause, sleep is like,
I don't know what sleep
so
is there sleep.
inconsistent.
Oh, it's very inconsistent.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so we have got to get our sleep figured out, because when we don't get sleep, our internal cortisol levels are so high, and that's our stress hormone. And so then what happens is we're always at this high state of stress, because our body isn't ever rested. And when you have high cortisol, when you have high stress, it's just shown that you have higher body fat. So we need to get our stress under control, our sleep, which is related to our stress.
Right.
Secondly, and again, I think that women just don't realize the importance of protein. Ideally, there's a lot of, you can look up, I am certainly no PhD or MD for that matter, but all of the research supports around a gram of protein per ideal body weight. So if a person wants to weigh 150 pounds, they should be eating at least 150 grams of protein, which can seem overwhelming, but again, I'm here to help.
Right. I was going to say
yes.
that's going to be the next part of what we're going to talk about, is how you can help folks with that, because 100, it's like, wow, 150 grams. But honestly though, there are things you can eat and things you can make that can easily get you there. So
Easily.
So, okay. So we've got sleep, we've got increasing protein if you're not already kind of at that 1 gram per pound of ideal body weight. Okay. Those are 2 things I think are pretty
And I've
manageable.
got one more
what's
big
that
one.
I wanna hear.
Lift heavy things.
Yes.
Get off the treadmill, get off the elliptical. And I'm not saying that there isn't room for that, because of course, cardiovascular health is super important.
Sure.
But if I have 30 minutes to do something, I'm going to lift heavy things, because again, as I was saying about the gaining the muscle, the bone density, as we age, it is super important to lift heavy things. And maybe that heavy thing is your body. Like maybe you get down and you do body weight push-ups, or you do body weight squats, or you do, there's so many things you can do. You don't need to go to a gym. You don't need to have weights or a weight room in your house. There's so much we can do without any of that.
Right.
But those would be the top three.
The top three. Yeah. I love that. And I think those are things that, hopefully for those that are listening, they're like, okay, I can do that. And it's not overwhelming and it's not too much. And it's one step at a time. Right. Because again, I feel like sometimes you just get so overwhelmed with what's out there. So getting focus on your sleep, and that might mean going to your doctor and talking to them about your sleep. If you're not able to fall asleep or stay asleep, they may need to do some more investigating into that, maybe have a sleep study done, that sort of thing. And then the protein, right? Investigating, figuring out some good recipes and things, and then lifting heavy things. I love that. And you don't, I know when I was really starting to exercise more last year, and this is, I'm doing better than I was. But, when I started lifting weights, I couldn't do a lot of weight to start. I did where I started. There were some things I was doing, like a little 5-pound little thing.
Absolutely.
And mentally you're like, oh, 5 pounds. Well, what's that going to do? Well, then eventually that got easier. And I was like, well, okay, I'll try a 10 pound. Okay. And then the 10 pound, like bicep curls, for example, I was like, okay, well, no, these are too easy now, because I would do and then I'm like, well, let me try and I would be so scared to try the 15 pound. That looks really like a lot, but I was like, but I can, do that. And you can build up. And if it takes you months,
who cares
to increase? Who cares? Start. And how often would you recommend someone, if they were like, okay, I do want to start lifting heavy things, how often per week? Like, is twice a week enough? Do we need to do more, like 3 times? What's your best recommendation?
My recommendation is 3, but start with 2.
Right.
I mean, honestly, start with 1.
Yeah.
So just do the baby steps, just start and then gradually increase. But again, there's a lot of research behind 3 times a week.
Yeah.
But again, 1 to 2, great. And I offer a strength. I'm so passionate about it that I not only, in addition to yoga at the studio, I offer strength training classes for women.
Love that.
And, some of them we just use bands for some workouts. You don't have to have weights. I don't own a gym. So we're literally doing things that everyone can do. Yep. And that's why it's just so important.
Right. It's important to start, to find something that you'll stick to, you'll do consistently. I know one technique that helped me, especially with my workouts, was I put them on my calendar.
Yes.
Because, I think a lot of us kind of live and die by our calendars these days. And for those of us who have, busy households and work and activities and volunteering, and I would put it in there, because if I didn't, it'd be like, oh, whoops, too late, or, or whatever. And then I'm not going to do that today. But when I started putting it in my calendar, and I found a time of day that worked for me, that really helped me a lot. So put your 3 times on your calendar.
Totally.
Get it in there. I don't know. That's just something that helped me. And, and for those days I had to shift it or be flexible or had to move it to a different day, then I would just move the appointment to a different day. And
and I've told just this last week, I was having conversations with some women, and really similar to what you're saying about making an appointment. What I was telling ladies is, whatever promise you make to yourself, keep it. So if you tell yourself you're going to lift weights for 15 minutes, do it.
Yep.
Doesn't matter if you have to switch it to the end of the day or whatever.
Right.
Because if, Nikki, I made an appointment with you to go for a walk, I'm going to keep it.
Right.
So why wouldn't we keep those things for ourselves?
I know.
Yeah.
That is so funny. I love that you said that, because I think when we make commitments to others to be somewhere at a certain time, like you said, or to help someone, move out of their house, or we commit to helping, a child with a project or something, we honor and keep those commitments. But yet we have such a hard time doing that for ourselves.
I know.
It's so easy to break that. And if we're not, taking care of ourselves and filling our own cups, we can't help others.
That's exactly
the way
right.
we need to. So let's honor those commitments, ladies.
Yes.
Let's do it. And whatever works for you. You know, for me, it worked putting it on my calendar.
Yes.
For some people, maybe it's
Same.
something up on their fridge or their bathroom
Visual.
mirror. Yeah, something that works for you. Absolutely. I love that. So to recap, it's sleep, it's protein, and lifting heavy things.
Yes.
I love that. I think we could all start to do those things.
Mm-hmm.
So we've talked about it a little bit, but I would just love to learn more about your coaching program, what it entails, who is it for? And then of course, you know, if someone wants to learn more, how can they get in touch with you to do so? But yeah, tell me a little bit about your program and what's involved.
I'd love to. So first and foremost, I love to tell everyone that it isn't just for those people who want to lose weight. Of course, I would say 90% of the women who come to me want to lose weight or lose inches or, you know, something.
Right.
But I also stress that the program is for people who don't necessarily know how to eat. They just have never been taught, you know, or they don't know where to start, kind of what you were saying. Maybe they do want to lift heavy things, but they don't know how, you know, they don't know how to start. So I would say that my program is honestly for anyone who walks and wants to be healthier.
Love it.
Like that's
Perfect.
pretty simple. The program that I offer is for anyone, of course, but my specialty, what I love is really helping women over 40 or getting close to 40, you know, because things, as we said, things are not working the way that they used to. So my program really focuses on a few specific things that I have already mentioned. We focus on strength training 3 days a week. And the beautiful thing about my program is everything is included. Like I give you the workouts,
Awesome.
you know, it's
Love that.
focused on whole food nutrition and we prioritize protein. Again, I give you all of if you're a meal planner, they have meal plans.
Oh, great.
I personally like to have a little more flexibility in my schedule. So you don't have to follow a meal plan. You can, you know, make your own meals and have your creativity in that realm. And then it's really based on macros, not calories. So we don't even focus on calories at all. It's really about meeting your macros, and the three macronutrients, for those who are unfamiliar, are protein, carbohydrates, and fat. And then there are some other things in there. You know, we focus on some carb cycling. We also introduce intermittent fasting, which doesn't need to be 18 hours like some people do.
It's like, I can't eat for 18 hours. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
It's not really as long as you would think.
It's not. And it's really like what we baby step, like just try going 10 hours, you know, like if you eat your dinner at 8:00, then you don't eat again until, 6 a.m., which is not that hard to do.
Right.
So whole food nutrition, strength training, macro counting, a little bit of carb cycling, and intermittent fasting. Those are kind of the areas that we focus on.
Yeah, I love
the elements
that.
of it. Yep.
I love it. I absolutely love that. So with coaching, you know, you were talking about working with clients who, you know, might be wanting to lose a few pounds, lose some weight, lose some inches. What about somebody who, and I'm maybe asking for a little bit of coaching for myself right now, maintenance.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts about maintenance? Because I think there's some folks out there that are like, you know, I have lost some weight. I'm at my weight, but maintenance, I think, is a really interesting conversation. I follow a gal on Instagram. I think it's Juan D Wellness. I don't know if you follow her.
Oh, maybe.
She's pretty interesting, but she talks a lot about living in maintenance. And do you have any guidance or anything for people who maybe have hit, maybe it's a weight goal or a size goal or something when it comes to nutrition for maintenance?
Absolutely.
What would you say?
Yeah. And thank you for saying that, because that's kind of where I am. Like I don't want to lose any weight.
Right.
I love continuing to strengthen my body.
Right.
So with my program, you know, when you join, you get to choose, do I want to build muscle? What are your goals? Do I want to build muscle? Do I want to lose weight? Or do I want to maintain? So there's a whole program that's just on maintenance. That if you want, you know, so it kind of calculates your macros where you should be if you want to stay where you are. But then the workouts are still there. The meal plan is still there. Everything is just tailored to your goal.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Because I think, you know, again, before we recorded, we were talking about kind of the culture of dieting, and we're always in deprivation mode or whatnot. And I think that there is a conversation to be had for maintenance. If you're someone that's kind of found a good place where you're at, how do I maintain that and not maybe go back and fall back on some of those unhealthy habits, or whether it has to do with, you know, lack of exercise or nutrition or whatever. So I love that you have that element into your program, because I think that's a conversation that we don't hear as much about, because most people are so focused on those, you know, last 10 pounds or whatever,
exactly
you know? And so I love that. I'm
glad that you asked that question.
No, kind of selfishly, I finally have gotten myself into that state. And, you know, it's funny because I was on such a weight loss mindset for so long. And so it was always about, you know, kind of the other side of it. And now that I'm in this phase, it's interesting how mentally trying to shift to that maintenance perspective, and how, you know, you want the scale to stay within I kind of like it to stay within a certain range, nothing crazy, but that's a different thought process and mindset. Absolutely. So I love that your program has that element to it, because I think it's important.
Yes, it is.
For people to know that that is available to them if they would need that.
And we want the program to be sustainable.
Right.
And what I tell people all of the time is that my program is a lifestyle program. You're not going to lose 10 pounds in 5 days or anything like that. It's really about making progress over perfection.
That's
we say that a lot.
Love that.
And once you do reach that goal, because you will, it is about, you still want a place where you can go and you can stay for maintenance.
Right.
So yes, I love that you brought that up.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, well, like I said, it's kind of where I'm at right now these days. And, you again, we just hear so much about the other part of it. And so I thought I would bring that up. One other question I had, and, you know, I think if there's someone listening right now that's like, wow, this really sounds like something I would benefit from. How would a person know if they're ready to be coached, right? Because I think you kind of have to have a little bit of a mindset of, I'm going to be coachable. I'm going to let someone else speak into my life and give me some guidance and things like that. Is there anything that you would have someone kind of think about before they, you know, invest in a program, to know like you're ready, you are in a mindset where you're open and ready? Or is it just like, just try it and let's just see what happens? Like, do you have any thoughts about that at all, or no?
Yeah. I mean, I think, you know, everybody's different, right? Like whatever their breaking point is. But I feel like for most people, because by the way, the program is also offered to men. I do have men in the program.
Sure.
So whatever, they come to me with the mindset that I don't know what to do, or I have tried XYZ.
Right.
And I'm ready to like make the change. Because you can't continue to do the same things over and over expecting different results, right?
Absolutely.
So you have to be in that mindset of, okay, I am ready to do something different, and trust it, trust the process.
Right. Right. I love that. And I think trusting the process is huge, because like you said, this is not in 5 days, you're going to lose 10 pounds kind of program. Those aren't healthy anyhow. So don't do that. But if you're someone who's ready to change, and you're ready for an investment in your health, in yourself, in your well-being, and you're ready to do something that is going to give you long-lasting results for a lifetime. Because that's really, to me, what it's about.
Yes.
It's figuring out what works for you. Like you said, it's customized to the person for your lifetime, and living out, you know, the years that you have left in your life to the best that you can.
Yes, quality.
Absolutely. And so that's what it's so important. And it's not to say that when a person starts a program like this, they're going to be perfect. Like you said, it's progress over perfection. You might have a day when, you know what, that bag of, Reese's peanut butter cups looks really darn good and you succumb and it's okay. And then the next day, you know what? It's a brand new day. You get back on track and you've got support, do you offer in your program kind of that support? Like if someone's like, oh man, I really messed up yesterday. What can I do?
Yes.
Like what would you say to someone if one of your clients that came to you said, oh, Stephanie, I just ate a whole entire bag of peanut butter cups. Help me.
Yes. Then I would say, okay, well, you know what? Your next meal is a new choice.
Right.
The next thing, do the next right thing, do the next best thing for you, you know? Because let's be real, this again, and that's why I love this program, because we are living this thing called life as human beings. So we are going to do the things that human beings love to do, which is sometimes have a few extra peanut butter cups,
right?
Or go on vacation, or enjoy the holidays, or, fill in the blank. And so it's always coming back to what feels good for your body. And usually that is making better choices.
Picking something different. No more. And I'm not saying, I'm not speaking from personal experience that I have eaten a whole entire bag of peanut butter cups or anything. So please don't understand that, that I have not, maybe half a bag. I don't know. Back in the day. So if someone would like to learn more, talk with you about your program, how can they reach you to learn more and get signed up, get on board?
I am on Facebook and Instagram.
Okay, great.
I believe both under at Stephanie Neighbor Kubik.
Okay.
They can always reach out to me at Vella Yoga Studio in Marion, Iowa. And those are probably the best places.
Perfect. Yeah. And I will put all that information in the show notes so people can go and check that out. Is this program can people do it virtually as well as in person, or how do you like to do that?
Yeah, thank you. Everything you can do. Like I have people who are in different states that will do this with me.
Perfect.
So everything is based on an app. So it's with them all the time. As far as workouts, food, logging, all of the things. And we do Zoom calls weekly.
Okay.
Everything is online so that you would just follow every day. I give inspiration and anytime they can do one-on-ones and
That's great.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. I wanted to clarify that
Thank you.
because I know now with apps and Zoom and things, it just really opens the door for more people to get on board. And I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
Well, this has been amazing. I definitely want you to come back on. We can pick some topics to maybe deep dive a little more into in terms of our health and our well-being. Because again, there's just so much. It's such a big space. Yeah. And I just think that I know that people are going to be blessed by this conversation today because you have provided so much good information. And I love just the practical, like here are the things you can do today to get started. And your program sounds amazing. If you are ready to make changes in your life, positive changes, reach out to Stephanie and do that. Cause I know it will be a huge blessing for you. I do like to wrap up though every episode with a couple questions for you. Because again, midlife, it is such an interesting time in our lives. And I know you had, big developments personally. You've had a wedding in your family recently, your amazing daughter. And, are you recovered from that yet, by the way?
Finally, yes. Finally.
It's funny being on the other side of it now, going from a wedding professional to now being the mother of the bride.
Yes.
And, I've seen the pictures and, just what a beautiful bride.
It was a lovely
I tell
day.
you, just absolutely loved it. But if you had to say, what for you has been the best thing about being at this stage of your life? What's been great about it for you?
I think the best thing, I probably have two things.
Okay.
The first thing I'm going to say is just like the life wisdom that we have and that we trust ourselves. I feel that anyway.
Yeah.
And honestly, the other thing is I don't care what anybody else thinks anymore. Yes. I've just gone past that and I just live such an authentic life but I think having those other two things, the wisdom to know and the freedom, attitude of just not even caring.
Love that. Amen. Amen to that.
Amen, right?
That is huge. You know, I found that to be a theme with a lot of people is just knowing who I am, and I don't care what other people think about me.
Yeah.
You know, and because to your point, I know who I am, and I've had life experience and lessons, and there's so much freedom in that.
Yes.
What a weight. I'm literal sometimes weight,
even.
but also just a figurative weight that just comes off of us when we have that freedom.
Yeah.
I love that. So if you could go back to Stephanie, like maybe in your 20s, let's say, what would you want her to know about this stage of life? What is something you'd want to maybe a reassurance, or here's a really good thing you need to know about being middle-aged, midlife?
I would say, just to keep it, the advice I would say simply is that everything is going to be just fine. And it's all going to work out.
Yeah.
Because we worry so much in our 20s. And, you know, to have, again, that foresight of just knowing it's all going to work out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. That has also been something folks have shared, because I think in your 20s, you're just, or in those younger years, you're just trying to figure out so many things, whether it's career, relationships, all kinds of things. And there's just like, I don't know what's happening, or I don't know how all this is going to end. And yeah, we all have, you know, peaks and valleys and all of that. And yeah, it's usually ends up for most of us better than we even imagined. Like if you could go back and say, it's going to be okay. Yeah.
I would agree
with you 100%. Well, like I said, I am so glad that you came on today. This was a great conversation. Definitely want to have you back so we can really deep dive into some of these topics, you know, and explore even more for folks. And again, if you haven't gone to Vella Yoga in Marion, go now. I don't know if there's a class right now, but just go check out the class schedule, and then reach out to Stephanie and get involved with her program, because she's helping people. She's transforming people's lives. This is going to be a blessing for you if you're ready to make the changes, and you just need that little push, maybe that little encouragement. Her program's a great way to do that. So thank you, Stephanie, for being on, and I can't wait to have you on again.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. At Deja Vu Rentals, we keep the rental process simple so you can focus time and energy on things that matter most, creating memories. Video recording technology continues to evolve at an exponential rate and can be just plain overwhelming. Let Deja Vu Rentals help you avoid purchasing a GoPro camera and all the accessories that may end up getting used once or twice. Let's be honest, we've all bought a camera that we just had to have, thinking we will use it all the time, just to have it end up collecting more dust than memories. Our GoPro packages are cost-effective and streamlined to give you what you need. Nothing more, nothing less. Only need one GoPro? No problem. 2 GoPros and a couple accessories? Cool. 4 GoPros plus all accessories? Done. The best part? You get to keep the SD cards. Deja Vu Rentals are the perfect addition to your wedding, family vacation, or corporate outing. Live, watch, repeat. Visit DejaVuRentals.com to learn more and rent your GoPros today. If you're enjoying the podcast, please follow the show to make sure the latest episode is on your podcast feed each week. I would greatly appreciate a rating and a 5-star review on the podcast platform you're listening on. It helps others to find the show. If there are topics you'd like to have discussed on the show, please email me at themarvelousmiddleagepodcast@gmail.com. The Marvelous Middle Age Podcast is produced by Riley Mullane and is part of the Ananellis Studios Network.